than what the president of Taiwan was asking for, but nonetheless, it's a big bill, including money to buy U.S. arms. What is your reaction to that, if any, and specifically in the context of the trip you will be doing with the president next week in China?
Well, all I would say in context of the trip next week in Taiwan in specific is the United States, our policy remains unchanged. You know, we don't want to see any forced or compelled change in the situation now. We think it would be destabilizing to the world. It's our position on that has been, you know, we've heard obviously the Chinese position, but we've made our position on that clear as well. And I imagine that will be discussed in the trip, but I don't think it'll be a feature of our trip, but it'll certainly be an item that's discussed. We think it's to the benefit of China, the United States, and the world writ large that there be stability in the straits there, and that continues to be our position. That's the one we'll continue to stand by and advocate for. All right, I have time for one more. We got to leave.
About Ukraine before you go. Yeah. You spoke with Lavrov recently, and you know they targeted Kinder in Ukraine even after they advocated for ceasefire. Where does the negotiations
well,
stand?
Right now, the negotiations aren't. We've tried to play a mediator role in that. So far, it has not led to a fruitful outcome for a variety of reasons. We remain prepared to play that role if it can be productive. We don't want to waste our time and invest time and energy into an effort that's not moving forward. But if we see an opportunity to act as a mediator that brings both sides closer to a peace deal, we'd like to see it. Our position at the end of the day is that this war is a tragedy. Both sides are paying a very heavy price for it, both economic and obviously at a human level. It's destructive. We're against it. And anytime you tell me about strikes and people, or every time I hear about these things, it just reminds us of why this war needs to end. And while we're prepared to play whatever role we can to bring it to a peaceful diplomatic resolution, unfortunately, you know, right now those efforts have stagnated, but we always stand ready if those circumstances change.
Okay,
guys. Yeah, and then I got to go, and I apologize.
One on Africa. I mean, the president committed last year to personally intervening to help try to end the war in Sudan. The Pope, in one of his addresses, called this one of the world's greatest tragedies. Did this come up at all in your discussions, and do you see any movement?
Well, we discussed Africa broadly, and of course Sudan being an incredible tragedy. We've been heavily engaged through that Quad process. Obviously, Sudan has become in some ways sort of a proxy engagement between multiple countries who are behind some of the elements that are fighting. There are other countries that are not directly involved but have allowed their national territories to be used as a way to ship weaponry. We recently had a pretty positive announcement for the first time on a statement of principles, but we have to give it some action. What we've really been focused on in Sudan is sort of establishing a humanitarian ceasefire that allows us to provide aid to people that are suffering tremendously there, but not doing so at the expense of a broader deal. So we do want the humanitarian ceasefire where we can identify a number of communities that are safe havens for the distribution of humanitarian aid for what is one of the world's worst humanitarian crises ever. But you can't do that unless you have the security to be able to provide the aid. But we don't want that to be the final outcome. In addition to the humanitarian corridors and the humanitarian sites, we need to bring this conflict to an end. And the way to bring this conflict to an end is for the countries and the parties who are supporting the fighting elements to force these elements toward a peace deal that ends this conflict. And as I said, we've been very involved in that Quad process, invested a lot of time in it, continue to be engaged on a daily basis, and in fact have people in our bureau in Africa, as well as our special envoy, Saad Boulos, involved almost daily on this topic. So, okay, guys, I got to run. I apologize.
Were you surprised by your Italian origins?
कल के हुए हमले से मुतालिक मार्को रूबियो मीडिया से गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे। ऐसे प्रिंसिपल स्टांस उन्होंने जिक्र किया कि हमारा आज ईरान का जवाब हमें मौसूल हो जाना चाहिए। उम्मीद है कि ईरान बड़ी संजीदगी के साथ मुज़ाकरात की जानिब जाएगा। एक बार फिर हम अपने उस टॉपिक की जानिब जिसमें मार्का हक की एक एनिवर्सरी और एक फातह के अंदाज में उस एनिवर्सरी को नजर मनाया जा रहा है, उनकी यादों को ताज़ा किया जा रहा है। सिद्रा सदुज़ई ने प्रोग्राम के सिलसिले में माहिर बैनुल-अक़वामी अमूर हैं, उन्होंने हमें ज्वाइन किया। सिद्रा साहब, मार्का हक में पाकिस्तान ने भरपूर सफारती हिमायत हासिल की पूरी दुनिया की। इससे बड़ी क्या बात होगी कि ट्रंप ही हमारी मदद सराई करते हुए इस वक्त नज़र आते हैं। इससे ऊपर सुपरलेटिव डिग्री पे कोई दुनिया में कोई ऐसा हुक्मरान है भी नहीं जो पाकिस्तान की इस तरीके से तारीफ़